Tonight at 6 on Alaska's news source, unrest in cities across America as hundreds of Marines head for Los Angeles, where an overnight curfew is now in place. A multi-million-dollar settlement surrounding the wrongful conviction of a Fairbanks 4 member is already approved, but how to pay for it has yet to be decided. And a community food garden for neighbors by neighbors is cultivating change in the interior.
And get ready, Alaska gets warm this week. I'll have a look at your forecast.
And we got an Alaska Baseball League showdown between the Anchorage Bucks and the Anchorage Glacier Pilots. That coming up later in the broadcast.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
If we didn't send in the National Guard quickly, right now, Los Angeles would be burning to the ground.
Clashes between protesters and law enforcement are happening in cities across the country. And in California, where we have seen dozens of arrests over the last 24 hours, there is a bitter battle brewing. The state attorney general moving forward with an emergency filing, asking that a judge bar the Trump administration from using federalized National Guard and active duty Marines for law enforcement purposes on the streets of Los Angeles. A curfew now in place in that city, and this right here, a live look as some of these protests continue into the evening. Activists gathering today from New York City to Chicago to Dallas, of course, LA and beyond. As of last check, a federal judge in California scheduled a hearing for Thursday on the state's request for that emergency order barring the Trump administration from using the military for immigration enforcement actions in Los Angeles. Now, here at home, as of tonight, state corrections leaders say there have been 11 ICE-related arrests in Alaska since January, including that of a Soldotna restaurant owner. Johnson Kuhn has an update after that man did not appear in an Anchorage federal court today. Johnson.
That's right, John. Federal Judge Sharon Gleason sounded almost upset as she told a government lawyer she was, quote, surprised the suspect in this immigration case, Francisco Rodriguez Rincon, was not in court. At points, the prosecution told the judge she could grant an order for ICE agents to return him, but Judge Gleason said it was ICE's responsibility since he's in their custody, saying they had until Monday to bring him back to Alaska or she could dismiss the case. The 47-year-old, whose state licenses show owns 2 Soldotna restaurants, Senor Pancho's and Sol Agave, remains detained in an ICE facility in Tacoma, Washington State. He faces 1 count of illegal re-entry after deportation from a case dating back to 1995, and 1 count of making a false statement to U.S. citizenship, the feds claiming he illegally obtained an Alaska driver's license. In April, a federal judge released him on his own recognizance after he pled not guilty during his first appearance. And roughly 3 weeks later, ICE arrested him. The court documents do not specify the details of that arrest. We'll keep you updated on how Monday plays out, and we've expanded our coverage with the entire history of this case on our website and mobile app. John?
Johnson Kuhn, thank you very much. Governor Mike Dunleavy also addressing the state holding 40 ICE detainees who are all men at the Anchorage Correctional Complex under what the Department of Corrections calls an existing contract.
So my understanding is the federal government reimburses for whatever use they have of our prisons, A. This is not the first time. ICE has always used prisons across the country in states. So this is nothing new. It's just being highlighted because of the issues being raised by protesters.
The governor made those comments after addressing the Fairbanks Chamber of Commerce, which included pushing his liquefied natural gas pipeline plan. A spokesperson for the Department of Corrections, who runs state jails and prisons, say the ICE detainees will mean almost $224 per day for what they call state care. The state says the detainees are from 12 countries, including Mexico and El Salvador. Now, the governor also said his team is reviewing the education funding bill, House Bill 57, which lawmakers passed after overriding his veto. It calls for a $700 per student funding increase. So far, the governor says he does not plan any line item vetoes. A 27-year-old is facing charges after a fatal stabbing at the Chelsea Inn over the weekend. Around 10:15 Saturday night, Anchorage police say officers responded to the hotel on Spinard Road after a report of a stabbing there. 25-year-old Michael Caskey was declared dead at the scene. 2 days later, on Monday, Matthew Alexei was arrested and is currently facing charges of murder 2 and tampering with evidence. We told you yesterday that the Alaska Dive Search, Rescue, and Recovery Team planned on searching again for the 4th member of a family that went missing on a boat in Ketchimack Bay last summer. Alaska State Troopers say 3 of the Maynard family members have been found thus far. The search team says it was able to search for the 4th family member until around midnight yesterday evening and then resumed their search this morning. We were then referred to Alaska State Troopers. That agency has not yet responded to a comment or a request for comment. And tonight at the Anchorage Assembly meeting, public hearing is planned for a potential repeal of the recently implemented mandatory ID checks when buying alcohol. Here's a live look at that meeting. Previously, IDs had to be checked at package stores, but now servers at bars and restaurants have to check IDs before serving any alcohol, and they must do so repeatedly depending on circumstances. A vote on a repeal could happen tonight. Look for that coverage in the late edition. And property owners in the city of Fairbanks are expected to see their tax rate go down slightly following a Fairbanks City Council vote to lower the mill rate. At Monday's meeting, the council voted 4-2 to set the mill rate at around 5.83 mills, meaning for every $100,000 a property is worth, owners would owe $583. This comes as the city faces a number of expenses, including more than $9 million to Fairbanks 4-member Marvin Roberts as part of a settlement reached for his wrongful imprisonment. Also a contract negotiation with the Fairbanks Firefighters Union. Last week, the council discussed raising the mill rate to pay for these expenses. Councilmember Lonnie Marney, who voted in favor of the current rate, says that those burdens should not be put on citizens and business owners and that the money can come from the city's savings. Councilmember Valerie Therian, meanwhile, argued that they should have raised the mill rate.
I still think that we have big concerns with regard to our budget for this year and next year. We are very low on funds, and with the firefighters contract arbitration coming up, we might not have money in the budget to cover that without taking it out of the fund balance. And if an emergency happens, we're going to be looking at problems.
Well, the city paid $3 million from the settlement this spring. 2 more payments are due in 2026 and 2027. We should note Alaska's news source did reach out to a member of Marvin Roberts' legal team for comment, but as of last check, we have not yet heard back. Well, it turned out to be a very nice day for Anchorage. Meteorologist Jackie Purcell says there is more nice weather to come. She joins us now with the forecast. Jackie.
Yeah, we have been talking about it, anticipating it, and indeed the warmer temperatures are starting to show up across the state. Mainland areas are warming up nicely. So there's a lot more to come, too. As we go through the week, the temperatures will soar to the 70s and 80s into the interior, and high pressure will be building there as well as into the south central region, too. Now, we have some nice blue sky out there. There are a few clouds hanging over the higher elevations. 61 is our current temperature in Midtown. Convective activity confined to the higher elevations, just a single lightning strike seen there. And for interior locations, also clearing skies. Look at the Fairbanks area. They still see plenty of sunshine. 66 is their current temperature with very light winds. So high pressure building into mainland locations will help keep us really relatively dry as well as warm, and in fact, warmest of the year. If we hit that 60-degree mark or 65 degrees here in Anchorage tomorrow, well, that could be our warmest temperature since last August 19th. 73 is the expectation with sunny skies in Fairbanks, temperatures staying into the 50s in Juneau and Bethel. I'll be back with a look at this forecast coming up later.
All right, Jackie, thank you very much. We got Arctic gardens grown all over. In tonight's edition, we are heading to Fairbanks, where there's a mission behind all of the beautiful work. Plus, our road tripping crew heads to Denali for a non-traditional ride. Where and how the adventure is going, that's next.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
Well, we are continuing our road tripping series with a Denali adventure. This time we follow Adelmi Ruiz as she explores from aboard a horse-drawn carriage.
honor to do this.
Chuck and Rustin tried to steal the show, but one look at these views and you know it's hard to beat.
So that's all. That was all. Go back to Phoenix because you guys weren't horseback.
I hopped on this horse-drawn carriage for a tour of the Healy Corridor, right along the outskirts of Denali National Park.
I turned 19 the day before I got here.
Phoenix, our guide, says he is loving his summer job here in Denali.
This is so weird. I decided that I just wanted to do this kind of work instead of staying in my hometown or just anything. I don't know. I think this is such a unique job path.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah. Phoenix, with our driver Michaela, and of course you can't forget Chuck and Rustin, all played a part in why my adventure was unforgettable.
It's so unique, and the people here are so unique. I thought I came in here knowing a lot, but then everything surprises me, and I just get so excited about everything.
We took in all the greenery, even spotting moose on the way.
This is pretty special. They're not usually this close to us.
We frequently bumped into other tour groups and horses in their pastures, all while Phoenix told us about the sights and the history around us.
Here it can be hailing and then snowing and then sunny and windy, all in the matter of an hour.
We arrived to a destination to hot apple cider and a hot meal, and a chance to get up close and personal with Chuck and Rustin. Then it was time to head back to the starting point.
I was gonna say
Throughout our adventure, it was clear our tour squad all really love their job.
The idea is that every tour is your best tour because people have saved up their whole lives to come here and stuff. And so I've been working on I'm tired or whatever. That's not the point. The point is that I get to meet all these really cool people. You look a little nervous.
Road tripping in Denali, Adelmi Ruiz, Alaska's news source.
All right, our road tripping series continues this week, and if you missed any of the stories that already aired, please head to our website or our app, click on the Road Tripping tab, and you can see them all.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.